All right, all right, all right. Welcome back. It is game day for the StarCraft 2 Amateur League. This is weekly number 125. So as always, we'll be starting off with casting the Initiate bracket. These are our bronze to platinum players. I really like highlighting these guys because they don't get a lot of love in the casting typically. Just need to wait a couple minutes to get confirmation from the boss, Glacius, who's running the league, that all of the brackets are final. Sometimes things are subject to change. People don't check in time. Until those brackets are final, we don't start playing any matches. I'm hoping for the first game that there are no changes, and I can get in and cast this series between Your Edge and Atlantean. Your Edge won a tournament a couple weeks ago, from what I recall. And Atlantean, he's one of the few Protoss players in the Initiate bracket, and that is my main race, so I always like to cast those games whenever possible. If you're new here, please drop that follow. If you have a Twitch Prime sub and you want to support me, throw it at me, and I really appreciate it. Anything to help support my content creation journey here. Alright, just taking a look at the Discord. Amateur League has its own Discord server that you have to be a part of to participate in these tournaments. You can find that on the Amateur League website, amateurleaguesc2.com. All the information about the tournament can be found there. A couple people chatting, but it's actually not as many people chatting as I would expect. Look like our numbers are maybe down a little bit this week. Just gonna refresh the Initiate bracket. It looks like nobody dropped out, but still waiting for the go-ahead from Glacius before we get started. There is a brand new map pool now, and still a lot of the old maps are showing in the when we look at ladder maps, which is kind of annoying. But one of the maps too, I wonder if I'll see anyone play this one, is a 3-player map. And those are interesting because it means you don't necessarily know where your opponent starts. And there's been a lot of talk in the creator sphere about bringing back in 3-player maps, about lowering the worker start to allow for more strategy in openings and in play. Because StarCraft 2 has gotten very much the faster player wins as of late, especially at the pro level, where you have players like Clem, Serral, absolutely dominating everyone and holding blind counters that they should really have no right to hold. So there's been a lot of talk about doing things to shake it up. I think that adding a 3-player map into the map pool is one attempt to do that. You can see there's 3 bases, so you don't know exactly where your opponent starts. And so I think this is a trial. They're at bringing it back to see how it goes and see how much pro players maybe complain. I'm guessing there's like a problem with one of the brackets or things changed like significantly at the last second. Because usually we've got a go ahead at this point. Also don't have much sound. Oh yeah, I turned the music way down because I couldn't hear people over it previously. Whoops. That explains a lot. Still no confirmation that we are good to go from the boss. Okay, looks like brackets are finalized. We just got the announcement. Let's open up our handy dandy notepad. Help us keep track of what. Okay, so it looks like they're already vetoing. I missed the first veto, but Tokamak. I don't know a bunch of these maps either. Also, if you are new here in tournament play, you get to, instead of banning like races or something or champions like you would in like League of Legends, you get to ban maps that you don't like in StarCraft 2. And I have not really had a chance to play on this new map pool. It's brand new as of a couple days ago. But there's some interesting maps. Okay, so they are vetoing the 3-player map. That's unfortunate. And Ultra Love. Okay, might get to see some new maps. Though actually Ley Lines is going to get in here. From the looks of it. Alright. First map is going to be Ley Lines. I guess I should just put maps. Incorporeal is map number 2, which leaves Pylon as our ace. Okay, where's Ley Lines? Going Eastern United States for our server. I believe your edge is from Europe. Oh, I don't have the Amateur League mod. When it updated with new maps, that must have. Okay, I'll fix that between games. All right. So, in the bottom corner with the blue Zerg drones, we have your edge. And in the top corner with the red Protoss probes, we have Atlantean. Alright, so I'm very interested to see if these players have made any adaptations to their play since I last casted them. I've casted Atlantean several times, I've casted your Edge a few times. Looks like we've just got fairly standard openers from both players right now. No kind of cheesy shenanigans going on. Now, one thing that always catches me off guard from Atlantean is just how much he loves his zealots. I remember casting one of his games and he had 42 zealots on the field at one time. That is an insane number. Alright, so we got a hatch. I'm assuming we'll be seeing a gas in just a second, and then a spawning pool from your edge. Probe Scout, he'll see that the spawning pool has just finished, which means he's good to go Nexus first. Doesn't have to worry about getting that Cyber Core out right away to deal with early aggression. So yeah, there's the Nexus going down. Now, I typically like to cut workers a little early. I usually do a 19 expand instead of 20. Just get that Nexus up a little bit earlier. And then there's the Cyber Core. So we do have to be careful that we wall this off properly. Oh, Ragnar, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Okay, hatch is up. Pool has just finished. We've got Queens and Zerglings on the production tab for your edge. Pylon in the main. We hit a little bit of a supply block for Atlantean. Core is finished. Warp Gate starts immediately, so we're not going to see any Stargate shenanigans. Probably no Overlords on the other side of them, or not Overlords, Oracles on the other side of the map. You know, I turned up my music volume for while I was in the menu. It's a bit too loud, I think. Alright, we've turned that down a bit. Alright, good Overlord Scout. He sees the Warp Gate. Atlantean is getting out a Stalker right away. I usually prefer to do an Adept so that I can scout, what's going on the other side of the map. Because right now, Atlantean, sorry, wrong interface, he's kind of blind. He knows that his opponent went for an expand. He saw the pool timing. But he doesn't know if this is going to be like a Ling flood across the map. He doesn't know if there's actually workers in the second base. And that's all very important information to have as a Protoss player. Alright, we are going into a Robo Facility and a Forge. We are starting the +1 attack right away. Shield Battery coming up to deal with any early aggression coming out of your edge. I assume, since we are going for a fast +1, like rather than a Robo Facility, I would assume that we'd see a Twilight Council and maybe like a Charge all at there is the Twilight Council, especially with how much Atlantean loves his Zealots. Like I said, 40 Zealots on the field at one time in a game is absolutely insane. Alright, I really like this Sentry coming out of Atlantean. He can either use it to force field off the entrance there for 10 seconds if there are not Ravagers on the field, or he can use it for a hallucinated Phoenix Scout to see exactly what is going on the other side of the map. Your Edge coming in with the perfect scout timing to see the Robo Facility, to see the Twilight Council, sees that there is an upgrade on the Forge. And to me, I see that, and I think this is a 2-base all-in. And so he starts throwing down. He's got a Roach Warren going down. He's got 2 Evo Chambers. He's kind of walling off a little bit here. And especially against a Zealot all-in, you can plug this with Roaches and Queens, and only a few Zealots can hit things at a time. That's going to be very powerful. Alright, we got an Observer coming up. Oversaturated in the main of your edge. Or not main, the natural. Actually, the main is too. A bit of oversaturating in both bases. But, Zerg does have to build stuff from their drones, so it almost makes sense to oversaturate a bit with drones. We do need to get an expansion up for Atlantean. Got a couple more gateways coming up. Those are a little bit delayed. Okay, and the Zealots are starting. Charge is almost finished. Remember what I said about how much he loves his Zealots. Okay, Phoenix Scout sees just about everything that's going on here. Should catch the Roach Warren. And I assume that your Edge is going for just the standard 1-1 rote speed timing attack here. The one that Loco refers to a lot as kind of baby's first timing attack. Okay, we are pretty oversaturated in the natural for Atlantean. We need to start pumping out units. Generally, if I'm going this heavy into Zealots with like the upgrade and charge, and that's really all I'm going for in my tech at this time, this should be like done as a 2-base all-in. You want to hit them around the 5-minute mark, and it becomes very hard for Zerg to hold. It being 7 minutes now, Zerg has had the opportunity to get all sorts of Roaches and Hydras and whatever else out, and still, we have like a dozen Zealots here against Roach Hydra. So the army of your Edge is going across the map. The upgrades are going to be even. And your Edge just has like the better tech units for the most part. Okay, here's our first fight. Zealots go in, Zerglings fall. That 1-1 upgrade does a lot against Zerglings, but I think that Atlantean will be able to hold this. Just because he got that last warp in. Okay. Good hold by Atlantean. But he should be doing some like pressuring now. He needs to keep warping in, keep macroing. He needs to transfer those 6 extra probes or 5 extra probes over to the other, transfer the extra here's, and get his economy rolling. Now he should have, I thought he had a warp prism. Yep, he does. There it is, going into the main. Just don't forget about it. Oh, he loses everything at the front of the base. You know, good run by. He needs a couple more gateways, I think, and he needs to take a 4th base. Ooh, lots of drones going down. 6 drones, 7 drones. And maybe we lose an extractor here. So in reality, that's 8 drones. No. Oh, I would have finished the extractor. You're not going to get much over here. Yeah, needs to get this prism out of there. You don't want to lose the prism. Oh, he's doing another warp in. Okay, he does get the extractor. Oh, no, he doesn't. 12 hit points remaining. So we got 2-2 and roach speed coming up on the side of your edge. Probes getting transferred over to the new base. He needs to take a 4th. Okay, 4th is going down. Couple more gateways coming up. So we're not likely to be able to win this game with just Zealots. And I know they're Atlantean's favorite unit, but we need to start getting some higher tech units. We need more Immortals for these roaches. We need some Colossi maybe, or Storms for the Hydras and the Lings. Or even Archons. And that would be my biggest criticism of Atlantean's play from what I've seen, even in the games that he has won, is he sticks around on these low-tier units, like having 40 Zealots, for way too long. Also, you might want to wall this off with gateways, bud. Really, you know, get a couple of gateways and a couple of cannons, more production for you, and it really reduces the strength of those run-bys. Alright, so we've got a 4th base coming up for your edge. We are on to... Oh, no, we're not on Hive Tech yet. We do have the Infestation Pit, but we have no Hive. Lurker Den is coming up, but Lair Tech Lurkers are not nearly as good as Hive Tech Lurkers, with the fast unburrows and with the increased range. So we have... Okay, there's Colossus. On the production tab, there's Templar Archives. But because he hasn't seen that Lurkers are going to be into the equation, he doesn't know that he needs to start moving towards a Sky Toss switch. Okay, we got some Archons at least, but no Storm on the production tab. Storm is going to be very important. Ooh, lots of probes going down. 18, 19, 20... 18, 19, 20. Whoops, 14, 15. Thought it would be more. Thought there were more probes at that base. Okay, we got the Zealot reinforcements coming in. Okay, this should be the first time that Atlantean realizes, hey, there are Lurkers on the field. I was going to finish off these roaches, but these Lurkers are just firing for free. Alright, now he should notice the Lurkers. But, you know, in the end, this advantage goes to your edge. Yes, he lost an absolutely massive army, but he traded pretty evenly with Atlantean, and he denied that 4th base. And that's the really important factor, is the denial of the 4th base. I don't know if I've ever actually seen Atlantean use Storm. Alright, we got more Zealots. Alright, so those lurkers do go down. Your Edge has been very efficient at spending his money. Atlantean has a little bit of a bank. He needs to get another Nexus up. And he needs to take out these Overseers that are just sitting here for free, watching everything he does. But right now, Atlantean has one unit, an Archon, that can shoot up. Alright, we do have a 4th and a 5th base coming up. A bunch of Archons coming in. And I don't think that your Edge has a very good answer to all of these Archons, but they are so expensive. Storm would be huge. We're getting a couple of Void Rays. For the Swarm. Alright. Your Edge is pushing into Atlantean's 3rd base. Looks like lots of damage being done. Lurkers are burrowed. We do have observers here to see them. Lurkers kind of getting sacrificed. This is not what you want. But the Archons are going down. The Colossus are not good against these roaches. We've warped in some Templar, but Archons take time. Templar as a unit do no damage. Alright, the 3rd base is going to fall for Atlantean. But these trades are actually like going more in favor of Atlantean than I honestly feel he has a right to have. Based off the unit composition. Alright, your Edge is going to be taking a 5th base. We might see him take a 6th base. Alright, the splash damage of Banelings onto Archons. It's not that they do bonus damage, but, you know, it's a massive amount of splash damage on units that are usually clumped up and rely wholly on their shields for health. Okay, and they're good against Zealots, of which Atlantean always has plenty. Alright, we do clean up the rest of those Lurkers. I don't really know why they were kind of left there. You know, maybe one Lurker to stop the Nexus, but feels like you're kind of just throwing away units in that sense. Okay, we're getting up some geysers at our 4th base, which is now, I guess, our 3rd. Okay, both players, you know, expanding, macroing. Got a Zergling run by coming across the map. Probably looking to see if this base has restarted. It has not. Okay, but I don't think there's anything in the wall off. These Zerglings are just going to get right into the main. But they don't go past the Colossus. They're just on like an attack move while your Edge's army attacks the 3rd base of Atlantean. These lurkers... Wait. Your Edge GG'd out? What? There's something on the other side of the map that I, like, didn't see. I mean, there was a Zealot run by on one of the bases. I feel like that was very much a preemptive GG. Alright, I need to take the stream down for just a second. We will be back in just a moment.